So, one of the most important things about students' attention is to understand the age of the adolescents that you're working with and understand about their ability to maintain attention. So, younger adolescents do not have the executive functioning of adults, and they also don't have the same interests that adults do. So as you move through adolescence, your ability to pay attention, especially your ability to pay attention to things that you don't find that interesting or things that you don't think are that relevant to you, that ability develops as you move through adolescence. And the ability to focus on one thing at a time also develops as you move through adolescence. The ability to not get distracted by what other people in the room are doing or by the ticking of the clock. That all happens slowly over time. And one of the really difficult things, especially for middle school teachers, is that kids develop at all different times. And so for a middle school teacher, you might have adolescents who are sort of at the tail end of puberty, and you may have kids who are just starting to go through puberty. And so the kids on the later side of development are going to have a little bit harder time paying attention. They're also going to require more concrete examples. And then you're going to have kids in the same class who have higher levels of cognitive development, which means that they're going to be able to do more abstract thinking and they're going to be able to pay attention for a little bit longer. So that is one of the many difficult things about teaching middle school, is that more so than at any other age, you've got a classroom full of kids who are often at different levels of cognitive development. And so it's really important to try to meet them at their developmental level, to try to not lecture as much as you can. My general rule of thumb is that I try to talk to adolescents in sound bites and not lectures, which is very hard for me to do. So I have to always think ahead of time. What is the main thing that I want them to know? I try to say it in one or two sentences, and then I try to be quiet. I give them a little bit of time to think. I give them some time to process and some time to think about how does that relate to what's going on in their own life? Do they have any questions? Can they put that together in some sort of project? Can they do a little bit of silent writing? And so that's really capitalizing on what it is that they are able to do developmentally. I know it's really hard for all of us who to teach. We generally went into teaching that subject because we like it, we're good at it, we're really excited about it. If it were up to me, I would just keep my students in class and lecture at them for 8 hours at a time, and that wouldn't be enough. But I really have to be thoughtful about what it is, what's the main idea. If they take away nothing else from that class that day, what is the one thing that I want them to take away? And I know that it's a little bit harder to do when you have a particular curriculum that you need to follow, and there are certain things that you have to get through on a certain day. But as much as you can and as much as you're able in your particular classroom to think about what are the big main ideas, how do you present that in more of a sound bite, and then how do you let adolescents think through how that relates to their own lives? Anytime that you can connect the material that you're teaching to what is important to adolescents right now and what affects them right now, not necessarily in the future, is great. So adolescents are very much present oriented, partially because of their cognitive development and partially because of their experience. It's really hard for them to picture their future. And if you're working with kids who haven't necessarily seen the adults in their lives and in their communities go to college or go to the kinds of jobs that you might be talking about in school, then it's even harder for them to picture the future where you're telling them this fact or this math theory or knowing how to write a 5-paragraph essay is going to be really, really important to you in college or in a job. That's hard for all adolescents to do. So anytime that you can connect the skills that you're trying to teach them to what is important to them right now, what's going on in their lives, whether that's their friendship relationships or romantic relationships that they're interested in, or the cultural world that they're living in, the movies or TV or the celebrities that are important to them. Anytime that you can help them deal with the problems that are affecting them right now and not necessarily in the future, that is just going to help them connect to the skills that you're trying to teach them right now.